Welcome back to my channel. In my last video, I mentioned my theory about, but discussed only esoteric things mostly, and forgot about my actual theory about which I even wrote a book in 2009 by the name Yes, We Can Unify Quantum Mechanics and General Relativity. In this video, I will explain about my discovery and profound impact it could have on quantum mechanics, for that matter, on everyday uh, physics. In my last video, I told that I saw small luminous spheres and I called them heliums. Though unintended, that name makes a lot of sense now. And and that I thought they were the least quanta of energy that we can get from sun. On the lighter side, the name suggests um, seems apt now that we know for sure that we are living in hell-like Earth, especially during this pandemic. Anyway, this sparked a new interest in me, and my quest for plausible explanation started. This incident happened in 1992. I discovered one important scientific truth about Planck's constant. My discovery was that the Planck's constant can be defined in another way, as shown below. H equal to E by nu equal to 119 times mass of proton divided by speed of light. You can check, you can take a calculator and compute 119 into 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 27 divided by 3 into 10 raised to 8 will give you exactly the value of Planck's constant. Later, as I told, lot of thoughts poured into my mind. There were so many dots that needed to be connected. I was frantically searching for answers. Basically, I prepared these slides so that if anybody doesn't properly understand my diction or my pronunciation, then they can as well refer to the slides, read the slides, and understand what I am saying. Later down the years, my thought process matured and I have turned my attention towards sacred geometry and the topic of Genesis. In apocryphon terminology, when I say apocryphon, I refer to the Nag Hammadi text uh, uh, called apocryphon of Saint John, um, which was found in 1946 or so in Egypt. So we can say that I morphed into psychic Adam. According to Apocryphon of Saint John, there are three kinds of human being. One is earthly Adam, the second one is psychic Adam, and third one is the divine Adam. So what I mean to say is I graduated from earthly Adam to psychic Adam, who has access to divine Adam. So and of course, it took me 56 years to just to graduate from earthly Adam to psychic Adam. Anyway, ever since I have become a Gnostic, in fact, there's a spelling mistake here, please bear with me, and started to look at the world in Gnostic perspective. Later down the years, my thought process matured and I have turned my attention towards sacred geometry and the topic of Genesis. In Apocryphon, I think this slide has repeated here. I'm sorry. Yeah, but there is something different I discussed here apart from the subject of the last slide. Anyway, we can say I morphed into psychic Adam and started to understand the divine Adam. Till then, I was an atheist. Basically, I used to think I was an atheist. And after crossing 56 years, a very distinctive change happened in my perception of the world. I started looking at the world in a true Gnostic perspective. And there is an interesting fact that I want to mention here. In Indian languages, the word Gnostic, in fact, means non-believer, strangely. Basically, because Gnostic, as you know, is a Greek word meaning knowledge. So, a gnosis means it is derived from the word Greek word gnosis, gnosis meaning knowledge, and Gnostic meaning one who has knowledge. So yeah, it's very ironical that in India we think whenever you call someone a Gnostic, he may feel offended because he thinks he is calling you're calling him a non-believer. Anyway, that's a deviation, I think. Anyway, we are deviating again. Let me explain how my theory can revolutionize the science. We need to understand few basics about quantum mechanics. There are four fundamental forces, namely gravity, strong nuclear force, weak forces, electromagnetic forces. Einstein completely explained gravity through general relativity, theory of general relativity, and QED, as we popularly call it, quantum electrodynamics. The Basically, the architect of QED is Richard Feynman. It completely unified the other three forces, but there was no theory that could combine all the four fundamental forces. In 1919, a German scientist by name Kaluza tried to come up with a theory of everything, as it is known popularly. The theory which combines all the four forces together is called the theory of everything, and sent a copy to Einstein for review. He published in 1921. For some unknown reason, uh, here my intention is not to, I have great regard for Einstein. I really consider him a god of science, but uh, in this particular instance, uh, I am not very sure whether he was uh, jealous of Kaluja's invention, or simply he may have his own reasons. I don't know for sure. So, continuing with our slide, for some unknown reason, or was it jealousy, as he himself was frantically searching for same thing all his life? Einstein was trying his best to combine theory of relativity and quantum quantum mechanics. So Einstein sat on it and did not give his opinion. What all Kaluja did to unify all four forces was to introduce fifth dimension. Well, once he introduced fifth dimension, everything fell into place. Lo behold, we got our first ever grand theory of unification by using a 5 by 5 matrix instead of 4 by 4 matrix that Einstein used. Kaluza had 25 simultaneous equations as opposed to 16 of Einstein. Here it is 25 again, which is wrong. I'm sorry. It should read 16. There are 16 simultaneous equations in Einstein's theory, but there was a minor mathematical flaw in Kaluja's theory, which was corrected by Klein in 1926. Since Einstein, who was considered god of science, did not respond, Kaluja thought his theory was, after all, not perfect. Everyone forgot Kaluja and Klein after a relative lull in the theoretical physics in 1972. Again, 70, sorry, a scientist named Leonard Susskind and so many others, and there are so many great string theorists, and others came forward with a theory which is known as string theory now. How all this has anything to do with my theory, I will try to explain the relevance. Let us do a thought experiment now. What if we combine Kaluja's 5 dimensions and Kepler's Mystericum Cosmographicum? Now I have to explain what Kepler's Mystericum Cosmographicum is. One day, while he was teaching his students, Kepler got a wonderful thought. He somehow thought that the universe is made up of Platonic solids. What are Platonic solids? I will try to show you the Platonic solids here, what they look like. These are the Platonic solids. The first one here is the tetrahedron. Second one is octahedron here. I think this is the cube. This is the icosahedron, and this is the what do you call dodecahedron. So those are the Platonic solids. And what do you call Kepler thought was the universe is entirely made up of these five perfect geometric figures. So we can say, if you combine these two, Kaluja created five-dimensional, the 5x5 matrix, introduced fifth dimension. So we can consider the tetrahedron as the first dimension, octahedron as the second dimension, cube as the third, icosahedron as fourth, and finally dodecahedron is fifth dimension. I think I owe you I'm sorry, excuse me. This is how Kepler's Mystericum looks like. It is basically made first, the innermost part is the tetrahedron. It is contained in octahedron. Octahedron in turn is contained in icosahedron, and icosahedron is contained in the what do you call dodecahedron. This is the Mystericum. So let us go back to my theory again, my slides. So yeah, yes. So he thought it was made up of Platonic solids. Mystericum cosmographicum, he called it. You may be wondering why this guy, meaning me, has been banging on same deep scientific subject, and what has all this got to do with his theory. So I am coming back to my theory and explain exactly how it provides a logical conclusion by connecting all theories to life. Call it serendipity or luck. I stumbled upon the revolutionary scientific discovery. I have already explained it to you, I think. You may think how this constant, or rather non-conventional interpretation of a constant, it's a constant, after all, it's just an arbitrary value. The Planck's constant was derived from practical experiments. They conducted practical experiments, and it's practical science, it's not theoretical explanation. So the difference is here, my theory provides a kind of theoretical what do you call background to this. This interpretation of constant has revolutionized our perception of quantum world. But let me explain how very structure of our reality can be elucidated using this discovery. So basically it was a practically arrived at value constant, but I have provided a theoretical explanation for the same. So when I say h is equal to 119 times the mass of proton divided by speed of light, in layman's terms, this means that whenever 119 protons accumulate, they divide into 3 into 10 raised to 8 quanta. So each quanta has the energy of a Planck constant, basically equal to a Planck constant. as many quanta you take, that much will be the energy multiplied by the compliance constant. So this kind of gives a peep into the structure of quantum world and is building block of entire universe, right from microcosm to macrocosm. And there's one interesting thing here is that the visible light ranges from 10 raised to 2 and to 10 raised to 8 and has a total frequency of 10 raised to 14, which can be split into 3 into 10 raised to 8, 2 into 10 raised to 4, and 1 into 10 raised to 2. I feel what I saw on that fateful evening sunset was the least visible quanta 10 raised to 2. Now let us see how we can build the microcosmic and macrocosmic universe through starting with this building block. So everything is frequency here, okay? Everything is frequency, and I hope I explained the string theory of what do you call string theory, about string theory. I don't think I did. So according to standard model of physics, the smallest possible particles are quarks. But according to string theory, there are more than 3 physical dimensions, or 4 if you consider time also as the fourth one. They're curled up in space, hidden from our perception. We cannot see them, the other dimensions. We can see only the 3 dimensions, and of course we can see the sun, which is can be considered as 4th dimension as per me, but let us come to that later. They are made up of small rubber band like things called strings. Everything in the universe is built up of these strings. These strings vibrate with different frequencies. Each frequency creates different object. So say, let's say this rubber band vibrates with a frequency of 1, then a pen will be created. If it vibrates with the frequency of 10, another table will be created. Like, I mean, that don't take it literally, but just what I mean is, all the objects in this world are just manifestations of the same string. Only the frequency is different. If you change the frequency of the string, it will result in a different object. So in conclusion, frequency is the key to the creation of the universe. Everything depends on frequency. Let us go back to my theory again. So anyway, let us explain all this, I think. Kanuja, and since I was this also we have covered. You may be wondering why, yeah, this also we covered. So yeah, basically yeah, all rectangles, even this we have. Yes, here we were here. Basically everything is frequency. So this is how the frequency of our visible light is from 10 raised to 2 to 10 raised to 8. Only that part of the spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum, where we can see, and above that we cannot see. So this is the frequency range, and how microcosm and macrocosm are built up. These are the, of course, the Platonic solids. It's a beautiful diagram explaining how they can be made up from these perfect layouts. And yeah, let me go back to this. Yeah. So the frequency, the microcosm, let us say, is like what is shown in this column. That is a microcosm. First it starts with 10 raised to 2, which is the dot, and then it forms a line. Line is 10 raised to 4 is a line here in this microcosmic world, and 10 raised to 8 basically is yeah, 10 raised to 8 is the square here, and 10 raised to 16 is cube, and 10 raised to 64 is the pentagram here, I think. And when we come to the I'll discuss it once again. But here, the macrocosmic world is very clear. This is the tetrahedron. Tetrahedron is nothing but 10 raised to 2. The next one is the octahedron. Octahedron is 10 raised to 4. Cube is 10 raised to 8. Icosahedron is 10 raised to 16. Dodecahedron is 10 raised to 32. So this is how these worlds are built with, and the angles are also given here. In the sense, this is microcosmic. The frequency, the other name for frequency is the angle. You may really be surprised why this guy is he making any sense at all. You may think, but the frequency and the angle degrees are one and the same. See, let us say if you take this particular, let us say if you take this particular 2 here, 2 degrees, they are not to scale. 2 degrees, little more than that, 4 degrees, 8 degrees, 16, 32, 64, 120. And here you have, of course, it is not showing properly. Here it is 120 and here it is 108 for microcosm. So anyway, the degrees are basically the frequency. So if you once you start with 10 raised to 2 for microcosmic world, it is a line. 10 raised to 4 is half square, 10 raised to 8 is a full square, 16 is a cube, and 32 is a pentagon here. And here, I mean, you go on increasing the angle, that will be the basically the internal angle of that figure, whatever figure you create. So for macrocosm it is 120 degrees, it is wrongly showing here, but microcosm it is 108 degrees. I should have taken more care while preparing these slides, I think. I'm sorry. But then, yeah. So, where were we? I was explaining the connection of the frequency to my theory. Yeah. My theory has, which of these frequencies my theory has? My theory has everything to do with 10 raised to 8, this particular frequency, right? So let us see how my frequency has anything to do with yep. That slide is not here. I think we have to go back to other folder. Yeah. Yeah, probably here. Yeah. This is a crux of my theory, in the sense 3 into 10 raised to 8 we have. 3 into 10 raised to 8 is nothing but the third frequency, 10 square, 10 raised to 4, 10 raised to 8. That is the third Platonic solid. What is the third Platonic solid? First is the tetrahedron, second is octahedron, third one is cube. So that till the cube, the both microcosmic and macrocosmic organisms or the structures are same. After the 3 into 10 raised to 8, that is the cube, they differ. In the sense, once you reach, my theory is that when 119 protons come together, they divide into 3 into 10 raised to 8 quantum particles. So let us say if you have 120 and 121, let us say, these are basically have something to do, they have something to do with a particular structure called Pascal's triangle. Here if you observe, this is 1, this is 11, this is 121. Basically if you observe the values, then they are nothing but, this is 11's powers. This is 11 raised to 0, 1. This is 11 raised to 1, 11. This row is 11 raised to 2. This row is 11 raised to 3. This row is 11 raised to 4. So what I say now is that, let me go back to the folder. Here. So they are all dimensions. They're all powers of 11. So here, if you take few laws, go through certain laws, Newton's first law says F equal to ma. So this has dimensions of one dimension of mass, one dimension of length, two negative dimensions of time. And Planck's constant has h equal to 119 m by c, has the dimensions of one dimension of mass, two dimensions of length, two negative dimensions of time. Kepler's third law, L cube by T squared equal to gm by 4 pi squared, has one dimension of mass, three dimensions of length, and two negative dimensions of length, time. So what I propose is that this is Prasad's law, when I call it, but life is proportional to 4 dimensions of length, 1 dimension of mass, 4 dimensions of length, and 2 negative dimensions of time. That is what I proposed. Okay, and going back to this Platonic solids and our continuing with our continuing with our theory. This is how this is the basically all of you know about the Fibonacci series. This is a Fibonacci series. Here you can call this the quantum entanglement. This is the cube part where the macrocosmic thing develops through, has different phases, and it forms a cube here. And this microcosmic thing also forms a cube here, as I have shown in my previous slide. This is this cube I am referring to. So it forms a cube here, and This has also a cube. These are basically not in order. I didn't observe this. Basically, the third one is a cube. This is the tetrahedron. This is the octahedron, I think. This is the cube. So this cube and this cube should be same, but yes, I think that is a no. He has given the cube here. So this cube should have been here in the third position. So till cube, the both the what do you call I'm sorry, I deviated a bit. Till cube, both the microcosmic and macrocosmic things are same. So this is where the entanglement happens. This goes on forming till here. This goes on forming till here. Or rather, basically, I would say, from here the energy forms, the energy emanations form a cube, and after the cube, the quantum world develops here, as shown in the Fibonacci series. It goes on spiraling and forming the material world. So basically, this is where the macrocosm and microcosm meet. This is microcosm, this is macrocosm. They two meet here. This is where at the cube, that is 3 into 10 raised to 8 is the cube. The third frequency. At the third frequency, the quantum entanglement happens, and the light or the energy of the light becomes matter. That is three-dimensional. So, when you go to 10 raised to 4, 10 raised to 2 down the line, it will thicken in the sense more dense and dense. So there may be dimensions even below the 10 raised to 2 frequencies. So that will be even denser. So, but anyway, don't bother. We can never see them. So we can see what all we can see is still the when we look at planets till only Mercury we can see. We can see Venus and Mercury below Earth, and Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune above Earth. So we can see only up to 3 raised to 8. So anyway, the quantum entanglement happens here. This is the macrocosm. This is a microcosm. Yeah. And the quantum entanglement basically happens here. So I think it's been very long. This presentation has took very long time. Yeah, this is a microcosmic world I was referring to. This is the 108 degrees. 108 degrees. This is the internal angle of pentad, and this is how the what do you call the microcosmic world starts and spirals, developing into a spiral. This is how it builds. So basis is of course pentad. You can see the golden ratio is involved. This side of from here to here, the side of the pentad is the golden ratio. So anyway, this is the microcosmic world, and I will show you the macrocosmic world. This is how macrocosm develops. It starts with 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells, 4 cells, 5 cells, like that. It goes on till here. Here you find a cubic structure there. That cubic structure itself is the what do you call quantum entanglement point. That's where these two worlds meet. So that is pretty much my theory. I think and some other time I would explain it. I diagrammatically explained it here in my book. If you have time and energy, you can just go through this diagram once and see how it fits into the quantum world, how it basically combines both. This is basically what I refer to as a cube there. 3 into 10, 3 into 10 raised to 8. This is the visible part. This is where we are, the Earth. And here we see these till here we see, in the sense 10 raised to 2 to 10 raised to 8, we can see that is visible spectrum of the electromagnetic spectrum. If you have time, you can go through this diagram, and I think I will explain it some other day. So, to summarize, I would say this is my best achievement. I think this is what I discovered, this part. Planck's constant, the redefinition of Planck's constant uh, gave me a basis for the what do you call, the uh, building of the universe. Basically, that is how, that is where these two worlds, the macrocosm and the microcosm meet. That is where the quantum entanglement happens. Paul Dirac's equation, right? There's for every particle, there's an antiparticle. Like if you have a proton, there's an antiproton. There's you have an electron, then there's an anti-electron, something like that. So that equation, Paul Dirac's equation, comes into picture here, at that Planck's constant thing. And this is, though theory, that's just a theory, life is proportional to that one dimension of mass, 4 dimensions of length, and negative 2 dimensions of time. In the sense, it definitely has 5 dimensions. The fourth dimension is inside the fifth dimension. All the 4 dimensions of life. Life has basically 4 dimensions, and in 5 dimensions, fifth dimension. So fifth dimension is a life, basically. So this you can as well compare it to the cosmographicum. Cosmographicum also, you will get a very good idea if you look at cosmographicum. So basically everything is built up like this. These are called, even called, the fractals. The fractals are the ones which are the perfect geometric structures in nature. All the nature is in the form of either of these 5 perfect geometric shapes. So this is how the you can say this is if you see how life is depicted in Egyptian mythology, you can say, we call it Ankh, Egyptian Ankh. Then see, this is exactly what Ankh looks like. This is the cosmographicum. This is the basically the man. This is life. This is the spirit, and the man in the shape of a cross, right? And I think I would close this presentation with one more subject, which is most important of all. In fact, this is about the evolution of man. This is a drawing by Leonardo da Vinci. Uh, Here you can see the ankh. This is the loop of the ankh, and this is the man in the shape of a cross, right? This is the cross. Here. This is the cross, and there is another man in the shape of X. So this cross is the ankh and the basically earthly man, and this X-like figure is the evolved man, in the sense, in the terms of Apocryphon of Saint John. This cross guy, who is in the shape of cross, is the divine man. In between here, somewhere here, like this is the caterpillar, this is the pupa, and this is the butterfly. In the sense, we are literally crucified in this material world. If you break this material world, you break free from the effect of all these 5 planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Then you will make it here, in the sense you will become divine. So I conclude my theory with one sentence from Apocryphon, Gnostic philosophy, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is all within you. There is no need to go to any temple, mosque, or church searching for God. The God is within you. And if you can, your body is the temple. If you can uh, uh, activate the crown chakra, you will definitely reach heaven. That itself is heaven. This is the hell, this is the heaven. You choose. Thank you.